friends, to another video. I'm crisis169 coming to you live or on air, pre-recorded if you're watching this later on. Let's go ahead and let's get into it. People may not know. People may not know about the video game crash in 1983. 1983 was a shallow time for gaming. Hell, because gaming in the 80s was considered a fad, nothing more. Okay? That being said, though, me, like myself, I was only 2 years old. See, I was born in November. I was born in November of '81. So I was only, 2 years old, still in the diapers, still, crapping and crying for milk, and at 3 in the morning, whatever, driving my parents crazy, like all babies do. That's just how it is. When you're a baby, it's what you do. Anyway, though, moving on from that. Now, the video game crash in 1983 is interesting because I'm trying to keep it short, but it succumbs to many events that led up to the crash. Many events led up to the crash. Gaming companies getting in there, but non-gaming companies getting in there caused the crash of 1983. And well, they didn't cause it, but they helped it. To make it simple, too many consoles in the market, too many bad games, no regulatory commission on games saying these games suck, these games are good. You have to go back in the 70s, late 70s, where you had, Atari created, Atari 2600 were created, and also you had the Odyssey and many consoles after that. Okay, the television created. There's your ColecoVision. You had Gemini. You had many consoles. You had probably 26 to 30 different consoles at one time. At the very end, for the bubble burst. You had a television, then you had Atari. Two companies starting out making this gaming. What's going to be stock options? What's going to be? You had the gaming industry in its infancy, and Adam Korek, who I don't know personally at all, but I watch a lot of videos, called the gaming industry at that time the Wild Wild West, and it was. To an extent, he was very correct. You can't sit there and say it wasn't, because it was the Wild Wild West. The Wild Wild West as we know it at that time. And basically what happened was too many consoles flooded the market, too many games flooded the market. Parents or consumers had so many options that it limited the fact that you had ColecoVision, Odyssey was powerful, ColecoVision, Gemini was powerful in this, blah blah blah. Most consoles used the Atari 2600 hardware anyway. Means with an adapter you can play 2600 games. Literally, this happened. It was like Microsoft and Sony making an Xbox adaptation, USB plug-in, or PlayStation port, PlayStation a Blu-ray disc reader to read PS4 games on the Xbox One and play it on air, and vice versa with Xbox games on the PS4. Of course, it'd be lawsuits out the ass and people freaking out, one gigantic mess after another. It'd be a slaughterhouse practically. But back then it was allowed, because you had that stuff. You had these big kind of plastic sleeves that fit over the, let's say, a ColecoVision, for example, and you can pop in a 2600 game and play, because it's the exact same hardware practically. They just copied and pasted what it was, and they created it differently. and all they did was just change around the cosmetics. Inside was a console that was exactly the same as 2600. Maybe a little beefier on graphic capability, but with an adapter, practically a piece of plastic, you fit inside the card, inside the cartridge slot. You can play 2600 games, and that was one of the issues that caused the crash. Too many choices. Hardware was not regulated back then. Atari made a joke that they could take a bunch of game cartridges, throw in the air, the money come out of the sky. And that was their downfall, because yes, they made a lot of good games, but when Howard, who was the CEO of Time Warner, that bought Atari for like $25 million back in the 80s, in 82, and developers asked to have their name on the game. Created by Bushnell, created by Oliver so and so, created by whatever person, created by Mark or whatever, created by so and so programmer. He said that and kind of broken up over the last 30 years almost, but he says that the programmer was no more important than the person that assembled the cartridge on the assembly line. So those guys there went off. Four programmers left and formed a small company you guys might know. They make a first-person shooter every year called Activision. Yes, that Activision. They didn't have a console, that they created software. They were the first third-party console being out there. Good ones too, not Chuck the dog, not Chuck Wagon. Chase the Chuck Wagon, Prina dog food, or Barbie whatever nonsense. You had so many games that ain't funny, folks. Okay, so they wanted to put their games on Atari. Atari said no, so they sued, and Atari lost. And by doing this, and by Activision winning, Prina Dog Chow, a Little Boy Blue down the street, Joe Six Pack, and Johnny Come Lately can literally now make games and sell them for 20 cents. Literally, you go into gas stations, and the person will be in there, will have a game drawer, what I've heard, put their game in and drop it in there, and sell it. Now, if I make a deal probably with the store owner for me, give the store owner maybe $10-20 or maybe half the profit or whatever it is, so for $40. The person goes there, I'll try this game here, buys the game, goes home. It could be a terrible game, how does it matter, because the person already made his money off it. See, that's one thing, because there's no distribution, there's no funnel. I mean, you can go to a gas station and put your game in a little rack there. We created yourself an hour earlier in your bedroom, or your office or whatever, program in your office, come in there and literally sell your games, in a 7-Eleven. It has happened before, what I've heard from the older people who were around. Gamers around. My brother and sister, we talked about that a couple of times. I've seen that happen before. And now, but the crash culminated in so many events that I could be online for the rest of the night and still won't, explain everything. Because it's a real hard matter. Because how it happened was, like I said, many people got into the gaming industry who do not game. You had Mattel, you had I think Kodak was trying to make one, but Kodak didn't. Of course, Kodak's been debunked and out of business for many years now. You had many out there trying to. You even had cable companies trying to put video games to the cable system themselves. This is how weird it got in the 80s, folks, in the early 80s. Being as that may, you had all those issues, and you had bad games like Parker Brothers or Mattel Interactive started creating gaming divisions in their companies. Mattel, that makes Barbie. Parker Brothers that made board games were creating gaming divisions in their companies to create games, throw them on 2600, ColecoVision, Gemini, Odyssey, whatever they can throw on and make some money off it. They looked at it, as I looked at the grunge era in the early 90s to 94. It was just there to make money off it. It wasn't there to usher in a new era. Video gaming back in the 80s was looked at as a fad, and they milked it like a cow. And what happened was, though, you had companies like Mattel, and games like that, and you had companies like Mattel, Parker Brothers, Pina Dog Chow, making gaming divisions, had no clue how to make games. They get the best licenses, like for Empire Strikes Back, like Mattel will get the licenses for Empire Strikes Back or James Bond and make the most shittiest games out there. And because of that, bad games got out there, and that started chipping away at the foundation of an over-bloated, over-saturated, over-weighed down gaming market anyway. We look at games now as being all Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. I'll get to the saving grace later on, and the real big reason why the game industry collapsed was, you'd be kind of, you won't be surprised, obviously, but with console video games collapsed anyway. Arcades are still doing pretty well. They're declining a little bit in certain parts of America, but they're still doing pretty decently. They're trying to increase it to 50 cents to $1, 25 cents to 50 cents. It's casual spend, casual gaming. You don't go spend $1 on some damn gaming. I have an older brother that can pop a quarter into Pac-Man and play it for 4 hours straight on one damn quarter. Literally, he'll play the game for God how many hours he play it. He had that kind of OCD. He does that stuff. And that's why, I have the same thing when I was younger. But getting back to the story, though, with all this shit going on, with all this cluster mess going on, and the crash of '83 was coming. The iceberg was coming. The Titanic with the game industry was hitting that iceberg, and they just did not see it. Bushnell talked about telling the programmers and developers of Atari to make a new console because they ain't gonna last very long. People thought, hell, I have a TV 25 years, a record player 25 years. Why do I have to change out gaming? Change the game console out every 4 or 5 years. That was not something back in the early 80s people understood, or 80s at all. Because I remember when we had we had a TV for like almost 30 years. That finally broke down about about a decade ago. So it was an old CRTV, CATV. So if it ain't broke, why replace it? And that's how the mentality was back then. And like I said, I was 2 years old when this crash happened. I was born in '81. So I've learned in 88 on what happened. I learned in the '90s what happened in the '80s, and it's funny. But when you had games like the Chuck Wagon and really crappy developers, companies like Mattel getting licensed for Empire Strikes Back and James Bond, and all these things coming on one time, and it's just shitting all over the industry. It really makes you wonder how it survived at all because of what's going on. Now, the biggest catalyst that really nudged in the fact that the Herd, who was actually the president of Time Warner, that bought out Atari in '82 for like $23 million, they wanted to get out of gaming after the crash happened. This is now after the crash. So he made the computers, Atari computers. They're going towards PC. PCs are coming down in price. PCs are getting more competitive. So that was the final nail, or the final hammer that broke the foundation that collapsed the whole damn thing down. And games were not fun anymore. Games were all simulations now on PC. Now I'm trying to fast forward, 'cause I could be here all night long talking about this. If you guys like it or not, then it's your opinion. But I don't want to spend all night talking about it, because I know you guys have everything to do, and I appreciate you guys being here. But it's understandable that PCs, have always been the dominant force. Always have been, always will be. That's the way it is. That is the standard, of excellence. That's the way it is. You don't like it? Too bad. That's how it is. And it took a lot of companies like Mattel and Hasbro and Parker Brothers were trying to get the hell out of gaming. They were shutting down their damn systems, shutting down the gaming systems. This is after the crash happened, or right around when the crash really took effect. And because of that, games are being sold now at discount bargain bins for like $2 to $4. So good games for $40 are being lost in the shuffle with these games that cost $2. They're all crappy. So when Johnny Dad goes to say Toys R Us or Sears and sees one game that's $20 and sees 20 games that are $5, I'll buy me a 20 game right now for Christmas, and then there you go. Dad doesn't know. That's one thing about the problem was that nobody did research. YouTube and the internet wasn't even around. The internet was around, but it was very like damn. It's like damn kind of internet. It was like good gracious. It was like chisel, like a chisel and hammer practically. Like the Stone Age of internet, like taking a chisel and a hammer. And that's how terrible it was. That's how it was at the time. So they can do research. Research kids did, like my age later on when we got old enough, was, hey, how you play this game? Oh, I like it. Or how you feel about playing the game? How you feel like playing Super Mario Bros. 3? Oh, it's awesome. Or I hate it. Or blah blah blah. We didn't have Google. Hey Google, what's this game rating? Or go to Game Informer magazine, comes in once a month, and you could read up on the games and reviews. We didn't have that. Or watch X Play when it was out, when it was relevant. But we didn't have that back in the in the 80s. So parents didn't know about video games. A lot of them are part of the baby boom generation, so all they knew was, this new fangled machine that's a fad came out, and Johnny wants it. I bought him the machine. I bought him 20 games. There you go. Christmas is solved. No big deal there. So but really, what really killed it off was multiple things. I'll wrap it up here in a minute. Was poor games, poor quality control, quality insurance, poor understanding of the market as a whole, poor not letting developers have rights to the games. That really caused issues, because then once Activision sued and got free reign, everybody jumped on board. Not regulating, like I said, not regulating companies that were not really gaming companies like Hasbro and Mattel and Parker Brothers. And that's being truthful though. Now, Nintendo came out in 85, 86. It wasn't a game console. It was marketed as an entertainment system, because the entertainment system, game consoles weren't going to sell. So they test marketed it in New York City. Sold all, but they made a couple thousand, 50,000 they had. They sold all, but maybe a couple left over. So they're released it nationwide, and boom, there you go. Once again, the game industry is saved again. On a side note, the game industry revenue was actually surpassed box office revenue. So essentially, box office revenue for a short time was number 2 compared to gaming revenue, gaming revenue. So for a short time there, the movies were playing second fiddle. So yeah, guys, that's my video. That's what I got to say here. Like, subscribe, comment below, share it with your friends, whatever, who actually cared about the history of gaming or whatever. I'll talk about my experiences with gaming over the years, and then next couple videos. My gamer tag on PlayStation Network is crisis169. My gamer tag on Xbox Live is crisis169. Same gamer tag on both ones. So Just hit me up for an invite, hit me up for a game of GTA, whatever like that. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you guys stopping by, listening to me talk for 20 minutes about absolutely nothing most people don't care about. You know, unless you're a diehard game historian like I am. But yeah, guys, if you want a better understanding of the video game crash of '83, the gaming historian is actually a better person to understand that. And also, go on YouTube and type in G4 icons, and they'll bring up the crash, and they'll give you a more in-depth review of it, and actually understand it better than I could tell you about it. But I'm giving you my thoughts about it and what I watched on those shows, but also what I experienced in my life in the time. And because I did have Atari, I did have a Nintendo, I did have Sega Master System, I had these systems, so I know what happened sometime. So yeah, guys, like, subscribe, peace, love, and holler at you guys later. Peace out.